Learn how to get the current hour, minute, and second using JavaScript's date objects. In this lesson, we want to look at how you can get the current time using JavaScript. JavaScript uses the current time. JavaScript has a built-in object called date that gives us the current date and time from the user's computer. So in order to actually make use of this date object, we're going to have to create a date object. And once it is created, we can then extract different parts of the current time, such as the hours, the minutes, and the seconds. But for now, we are going to just simply display the current time only once the page loads. So let's move into our code. And in this example, or in this lesson, I'm going to be making use of an external JavaScript file. You can see it. So this is the file. It corresponds to what I'm linking to my HTML. So I'll move into my JavaScript file. And the first thing I want to do is call on the window.unload method. So it's a global function that allows your page to fully load before JavaScript begins to select your HTML element. So that is its purpose. Now, inside this window.unload, then you can add our JavaScript code. So the first thing I want to do is let's make a variable and call it clock. So this variable, we are going to use it to target our clock ID, which is what we have here. You can see our H1, which corresponds to the clock as an ID of clock. So let's use the document of get element by ID to target it. Once we do that, then we can go ahead to create a date object. And let's say DOB for date object or whatever. So you call on the new date constructor. So this is how you create the date object in JavaScript. New keyword with date. So now that we have created that new date object constructor, it is now time for us to get the current time. And how do we do that? Well, it's very simple. So let's say we want to get hours. So let's make a variable and call it hours. We will just call this variable here and pass it a get hour method. dob.get hours. So now let's get the minutes. Get minutes equals to dob.get minutes. And lastly, let's get the seconds. dob.get seconds. Now, you will notice that nothing is actually happening yet, even though we are already getting the dates, the hours, the minutes, as well as the seconds. Now, looking closely at what we have so far, the reason why we are making use of this DOB is because it is where we are saving our date objects. So whatever date that is gotten on your computer, we are saving it directly inside that DOB, which represents our date object. So you can call it D, you can write it in full, you can give it any name. It's just a name for our variable. Just make sure it's something that you can remember when you need to use it in your application. Now it's time to display the time. So how do you display the time? Well, you use the text content to write to it. So let's use clock.text content. Since we want to add text alongside our variable, then now look at it and look at the time on my system. Show 44:16 seconds. So now in this example, we have successfully get the current time. So the When we got this current time is by making use of the built-in date object that JavaScript provides. So it gives us the current date and time. And we begin by creating a new date object using the new date object. From that object, we use get hours, get minutes, and get seconds to retrieve the current time. And finally, we combine those values into a string and display them inside our clock element using text content. So right now, this happens only once when the page loads. So the clock doesn't move yet. And how do you confirm that the clock is actually not moving? Well, if you look at what we have, it is still stopped on the 16 seconds. And you can see on my local system, it's already 1 minute faster than what you currently have. So even if I refresh, it is just going to pick the correct time and then it will stay static like that. So it's not moving the hour, the minute, and the seconds. It's not counting yet. This exactly is what we want to look at in this lesson. We only want to get the current time, and we have been able to do that successfully. So a few key takeaways before we end this lesson. Number one, the new date object creates a date object containing the current date and time. Two, get hours returns the current hour. Three, get minutes return the current minute. Fourth, get seconds return the current seconds. And lastly, we can display values on a page using the text content, just as we employed in our own scenario as well. We made use of the text content to display the current time